Hello everyone, my name is Heart, and I am here to discuss the recent patch for Code Vein 2. The patch was dropped on April 10th, 2026. This is yet another helpful patch that fixed a lot of bugs and added in some much needed features. I won't cover all of the features, but only the ones that stood out the most and wanted by the community. Auto items have been added. No longer do you have to click a button to grab materials off of the floor. Just run to them and your character will pick them up automatically. I never had any issues with grabbing items, but it's very useful when any game allows this option. The Enhanced Enemy Difficulty option. This applies to the New Game Plus. Before this patch, we didn't have an option for this. If you're familiar with Code Vein 1, you have seen this being asked before starting a New Game Plus. Going by the patch notes, it mentions that the enemies will be stronger and you will earn more haze when defeating them while having this option enabled. Turning it off will reset the enemy difficulty and the haze drop will go back to normal. If you bought the deluxe edition that came with the outfits from Code Vein 1, we are now able to change the colors and remove some of the equipment pieces. I'm really glad they let us have this option since I do enjoy giving different outfits to my characters. Noah is finally able to accept gifts and trade points for food recipes. This one was a pretty big deal before the patch. Out of all the characters, he was the only character that was locked out at endgame and you couldn't give him gifts during the free exploration era. I have no idea if this was overlooked by the devs or they didn't think ahead that they locked him out at a certain point in the game. The reason it's a huge deal for players is due to the Affinity meter. Let me explain how this works. Before this update, the Affinity meter was hidden for all characters and you only had a mod to help figure out what character affinity percentage it was at. The patch notes do mention it's invisible at the start but becomes unlocked as you progress the story. Keep in mind this is for the recent update, not including how it was set up before the patch update. The reason it's such a big deal is due to the achievement that is tied to having max affinity for one character. Thanks to this recent update, you can now see how high the affinity is for one character. The affinity meter works by 3 factors. Exploration is already obvious and it does record how long you have spent time with this character. This does include fighting in battles. I have heard that the exploration meter does move if you fight really strong bosses. You will know when they make a comment about it. Story has to do with their side quests that could be done during free exploration. And gifts are pretty obvious, but I have noticed that once the gifts percentage has reached 100%, the affinity percentage meter does not move anymore. This means you need to focus on the other factors. The exploration will only go up if you spend more than an hour with the character. Maybe up to 4 hours, if I'm going to be honest with you. In the patch notes, they did mention adjustments to the affinity meter. If you give a gift that is loved or favored to the character, the meter will go up more compared to the other gifts. Affinity has also increased by defeating the enemies on the field and slowed down the affinity meter going down whenever fighting enemies weaker than the player. Once you have max affinity for that character, you can collect their weapons and their signature weapons in the shop. Speaking of gifts that are needed to increase the affinity meter, there is a new minion that allows you to buy gifts for the characters. This was very much needed because most of these gifts are only found through one playthrough. So if you need more than one gift item, you would have to start a New Game Plus and go back to the area where the item is located. This is no longer the case anymore thanks to this new NPC shop. This shop only appears if you have cleared the final dungeon and are ready to move on to New Game Plus. Major adjustments to all bosses. This includes story bosses and final bosses, but only for Ending 1 and Ending 2. The final boss for Ending 3 remains the same. The adjustments have also been applied to enemies, especially that stupid and annoying bell demon, the Moon Envoy. They got the biggest nerf and it was very much necessary. Everyone in the community is in agreement that this enemy was just flat out annoying to deal with. Here are the adjustments they did. I already showed this enemy in my last video, so you're probably familiar with how aggressive its attacks were and how it could be a struggle for new players or people still going through the main story while at a lower level. In this video, I recorded the same enemy just to show the difference compared to the last video, but I couldn't really show off how much of a difference it was before the patch. I have different equipment and stronger blood codes this time around, and most of my blood codes are at max level. The other adjustments included the other jails getting increased I-core from drain attacks. The ones that got upgraded are Ogre, Hound, Stinger, and Reaper. The Bat Jail and Reaper Jail were the most used jails before this patch. At least that's what I have noticed from my experience. You can comment down below if you used the other jails before this patch. And last, for balance adjustments, some weapons and bequeath forme can now disrupt enemies and bosses more than usual. Thank you all for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you. I tried my best to explain most of the features that were added in this recent patch. Once again, you can check out the English patch notes on the Bandai Namco website. The link is down below in the video description. Share your thoughts and comments down below. Take care and have a good day.